One thing that I can give that has helped me a lot is that each time I'm triggered in a situation with my children, I now know that it's not them. It's always me. Each and every time I'm triggered. No exception.
Take the time to remind yourself that it all starts inside yourself.
Wake up feeling stuck every day, then you gotta realize that it's all in your mindset. Read about the meditation, you go get around to it, you just haven't had the time. Yeah, I bet. Best thing that you could invest in is you. Could have the results or could have the excuse. Only one life, so take care of what you choose. And I ain't preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up!
Hello and welcome to Bombastik Broadcasting with Kat, Kim, and Sue.
As you know, here at Bombastik Broadcasting, we are stoked to illuminate the folks who are stoking the fire in their souls, one podcast at a time. And today we have the joy of coming to you with a first part of our series in showcasing all of the coaches for this Global Conscious Parenting Summit. It's coming up on August 8th. It's going to be online. Coaches, obviously, from all over the world. It's global, which is so exciting. And today we have one of the facilitators. She is also a conscious parenting and life coach. Her name is Diana Alexandrova, coming to us from Belgium, which is all very exciting. And we're excited to dive into it with you. I know part of your aim is you deepen the connection with your child. So for all of us parents, that sounds like a dream come true. Can't wait to hear about how to do that and exploring the playfulness as a parenting tool, which also wonderful. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Welcome, Diana. I wanted to start off by asking you what the catalyst was that got you started into mentoring parents.
Wow, it's such a long story, but I will try to make it short. I mean, I'm myself a parent of two wonderful daughters. They are 18 and 20 this year. And my journey really started when my oldest daughter hit the teenage years. And I all of a sudden experienced a lot of powerlessness and kind of frustration because all of a sudden there was this child that I knew so well. And she all of a sudden looked like, who is this? Even her hair went curly. I mean, I just even on the outside, she was changing. And I just didn't know how to handle all of these emotions and everything that was coming up for me. And we started clashing with her. So I'm talking probably 10 years ago now. 8 to 10 years ago. And we started clashing. And I intuitively sensed that what I was doing and the way I was kind of approaching her was not working. And I knew intuitively deep down inside that I needed to do better and I needed to do maybe something else. So I started searching. At that time, I was in the corporate world, leading teams, considering myself fairly good with people, because no issues whatsoever at work. But there was this child and I didn't know how to handle her. I mean, in a way that I would feel we are connecting together.
Right.
So then I started searching and I came across the work of Dr. Shivali Zabari, and I started reading her books. And I will never forget this because the first book that I read from her was The Conscious Parent. And I remember reading this book. And after I closed the book, I felt like depressed probably for 2 weeks because I was thinking, oh my God, I saw so many of the things that I was doing that were not, that were not the
You're
right
like,
way.
I blew the whole thing.
Honestly,
Rewind.
I was literally shocked because I had this big aha after aha and a big moment of realizing, oh my God, there's so much work I need to do on myself. And, what I'm doing with my daughter is not the right approach. So that's how it all started. And I just want to say, then I read the next book, which was The Awakened Family by Dr. Shivali Zabari. And I started applying all of these principles that I learned from her books with my children. And it worked like magic. So everything that I was kind of learning, I was applying. it worked like magic. And I started applying the same things at work while working with the teams and and then I saw that it was getting better and better. And I was completely in love with her work. And then that's how I ended up in her institute. And really my passion to spread the teachings, well, it sounds like, teachings, but just to spread the wisdom of conscious parenting is so big. It's just stronger than me. So there we are, organizing this global conscious parenting summit.
Fantastic.
Goodness, what a good question. It's just amazing that that book even exists. So for our viewers out there who don't even maybe know that parenting coaches exist, I want to address that because I only found out that they existed maybe 7 years ago. And now this conscious parenting, getting to know it more through Kim and what you're just saying, I mean, that there is a helping friendly book is kind of amazing. So I'm sure there's a lot of people smiling out there. Plus, at what age is it too late? Because I wish I would have known this information. I have an 18-year-old daughter, and I felt very similar. So for our viewers out there that maybe have gone past certain points, can you always be a conscious parent? Is there a too late moment since there is not a rewind button?
Oh, Kat, I just love this question. And you're going to like the answer because it's never too late. It is never too late. And of course, I mean, I had those feelings. So when I started on this conscious parenting journey, my kids were already I said, the oldest one was hitting the teenagers. The other one is just 2 years younger. So I have already, messed them up nicely by that time.
Absolutely.
Which is many of us do that. Okay. So at that point I was having all of these thoughts. Oh my God, I wish somebody had given me this book even before I decided to have children. Not only, when they were born, but even before that. But at the end of the day, I also realized, you can always start and work on the connection with your children. It doesn't matter whether they're, 10, 20, 30. It's never too late. It's never too late. Of course, it's much nicer that that somebody tells us these things before we have children.
Absolutely. That would be the dream. There you go. Diana, I was going to ask you what the similarities are that you found in between running a business team and running your family.
Oh my God. I mean, there are more similarities than you would even think. Because I often tell people when they ask me what you do, and I say, look, I have this leadership consulting practice, but I also do parenting coaching and life coaching. And at first, it might sound, oh, these are kind of two different worlds. But actually, there's so many touching points, and there are more touching points than you would think, because how we are at home is how we are at work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the struggles that we have and the triggers that we get in the family are the same that we get at work. So I don't know if this is answering your question, but
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, that totally makes sense.
I've heard that too, of that managing, even like, I was lucky enough to have a stay-at-home mom. So she was always there, no matter what emotion I was going through, it was she was there as much as you take it for granted. Now as, a working mom, I see that even more. So for, I've heard mothers and wives dressed as managers of the home, which I appreciated that a lot, that kind of title. And I think what you just said addresses that. I mean, the family is a business of sorts.
And it's so much work, honestly. When I was a very young mom and I had the 2 girls, and I had at that time 1 year, I had 1 day more staying at home and 4 days working when they were very young. And I thought, oh my God, I can't wait to go to work on Tuesday because I can rest. Honestly, it is hard to be a stay-at-home mom and to manage the whole thing and be there for the children. And so,
And
by
yourself.
all means, tell me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you made the switch, did you discuss it with your daughter or did you just start behaving differently?
Yeah, I just started applying the tools, and especially when they're in the teen years, you just better be there for them and be as present as you can, because they don't really care a lot about you at that point. I mean,
Yes.
in a nice way. I mean, they're teens, they're going themselves through a very hard time.
Yes.
They're kind of finding who they are in the world. There are all these hormones that are driving them crazy. And I had so little understanding for that at the time, that when I look back, I think, oh my God. But no, I just started kind of applying the tools really. Now that she's 18, I can have these conversations with her. I have been having those conversations with her. Just say, look, I'm really, I know what I was doing then, that I know that now I would have done differently. And we have had those few chats. And this is really also helping the connection.
That makes sense. And that's why you say it's never too late. Because, I think just being able to have a discussion about those, even if there were some circumstances or situations, and then that can just change your child's wounds, I feel like, from, whatever happened.
Absolutely.
And learning together, even in that way, because it's nice when you're allowed to show your underbelly. We're all human. I make mistakes. I'm sorry for what I did. I didn't know. Like, that learning will be exponential, I would think, then hopefully with our daughters, with our children.
Yes, I absolutely love this reflection, because they also learn in this way that we are not supposed to be perfect, and we are not perfect, and it's okay to make mistakes. But actually, it's even better that we talk about it and we kind of admit, look, I messed it up. I'm sorry. And we learn from it. And there's so much value, when we grow together, as you say. And I often tell her, look, I'm learning from you and you're learning from me. I really often tell her this, you teach me all the time. So she knows that.
Right. And now, how old are our kids when they start driving in Belgium? Is it 18?
It's 18. It's
Okay.
18. And luckily, at the moment, she's not too interested in starting driving around. Because, what we also learned in this institute is that, and which was quite surprising to me when I learned it, is that our children's brains develop over the years. And it's only at age of 28 that the prefrontal cortex is fully developed. Only at that
28.
age. So can we please
Amazing.
be a little bit more forgiving to our, developing children?
All the way through till 28.
Yes. So I think that they now know, so between 25 to 28, and then the prefrontal cortex, which is where our reasoning, uh, brain is then fully developed. So then this helps me have a little bit more compassion for our teenagers and, for our children that are, we assuming, I mean, look, you're 22 years old. You should have known this better.
So I think my question about driving was, but not really actually related to driving, but like sort of at what age do you let them start taking the wheel of life more? Do you know what I'm saying? Like making their own
Oh,
decisions, or
sorry,
is
I
that just an
misunderstood that.
ongoing? No,
I misunderstood.
I did ask about a car, but now I'm asking about life.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's different for different children, but typically now, in the case of my daughter, she's a second year student in a different town in Belgium. So um, I think it's really healthy for them that they, start taking care of themselves, taking responsibilities themselves. So yeah, but you see all kinds of cases, right? But I think it's really healthy for them to kind of start taking care of themselves.
Pretty slick metaphor there, Kim. Like
Thank
that
you
very much. I have to say too, I'm so happy that you brought that up with the 28, because that is such a learning experience for all of us listening. Because you have an 18-year-old daughter. I have an 18-year-old daughter. Kim has an 18-year-old daughter, right? And they're kind of, I feel like knowing that takes the pressure off them a little bit too,
Yes.
because our kids can be very, they're very driven. They're very hard on themselves sometimes. And, at 18, even all of a sudden things are shifting and, oh, I'm an adult. I'm a legal adult for whatever that means, like definitely take more responsibility. Like you're saying, put your hands, at what is it, at 3 and 9 or however that works
10 and
on the
2.
wheel and start. Yeah, don't tell the California DMV. But to get familiar with that, but still also know that you're developing for 10 more years at least. I mean, that's awesome. Thank you for that nugget.
That
It
is
is
great.
awesome, isn't it? And I often tell clients that I'm working with, look, just knowing that your child has an undeveloped brain physiologically already puts you in a place of more compassion when they
Yes.
do some silly things in our eyes.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they just don't have the skills. They're learning. So
And Diana, your focus is on playfulness. Is that right?
well, I think we can all use a little bit of more playfulness, and maybe not take things too seriously. I think that we are taking ourselves very seriously sometimes, and
Yes.
especially when we get triggered, and if it's with our children. I just think that playfulness is such a wonderful gateway to more connection. If you could just be a little bit less serious, a little bit less, joking, and just playful, really. It's a shortcut. It's a shortcut that you can use with your children.
And what age is your typical client's children, or is it any age?
It could be any age, really. I mean, I have had people that they were with young babies, like, or maybe 1 year old, and also people with teenagers. So it could be really any. I mean, the work is the same, and they come, of course, for the children. But of course, conscious parenting teaches that we start with us as parents. And it's amazing. This every time, it doesn't seem to amaze me. Every time the parent does the work on themselves, everything shifts. The whole
Yes.
energy at home shifts. And that's so empowering, because then it's all in us, and we have the power to change things.
And how do parents react when they come in saying, "What am I going to do with my kid?" And you're like, "That's not the problem."
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm usually very nice in the beginning.
In the
man.
beginning, that is great.
Yeah, I mean,
Lovely.
we have to be gentle with us. I mean, we are special
course.
species parents. I mean, we are
Yeah.
so driven. We want to be the best ones, and the child is always wrong, and there's always something wrong with the child, and nothing with us. So, yeah, we have to have compassion, and we have to
Yes.
be gentle. But I mean, I truly believe that we all have our wounds from the childhood, and unless we do the work on ourselves, we are not only not able to parent in a conscious way, but we are not able to live fully an authentic life.
What a great catalyst for identifying our wounds as parents, as adults, right? I mean, it's such a cool
Amazing.
kind of design when you think about it. So if you're acknowledging that, and let's say too, that's pretty counterintuitive. I'm still trying to learn that oxygen mask. Put on your own oxygen mask first. Like, this little baby comes into the world, you're like, holy cow. I'm going to try really hard not to kill this thing by accident or mess it up too bad. But like when you're saying now it's okay for us to kind of fix ourselves, and then everything else will fall in alignment. And you know that thing with the finger, when you point the finger, you have 3 pointing back at you.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Yeah.
One of you have to ask about the tools and the toolbox, because we got to get some tools here before we let her off. We need a little smidgen of the wisdom.
Well, very quickly, how did the parenting summit come into being?
How did it come into being? Well, I'm partnering with a lovely lady, and her name is Alia Milosheva, and we have been working on Conscious on the Go, and both of us are very, very passionate about conscious parenting and helping parents, and thus helping children. So I think really when we were just working together, and Ala said one day, look, I have this idea, and I was actually planning to have some time off now. But
There with
she
that.
said, look, I know you are, you have other plans, but I have this idea. And I'm like, you know what? It's such a great idea. I don't care about the rest. We'll just go for it. And that's how it started, really. It started with Ala's idea, and I immediately was kind of, yes, we have to do this. And we jumped into this together.
Fantastic.
Love that.
If you dream it, you can do it.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Kath, why don't you ask your tool question?
Sorry, I have to.
You want a tool?
I do. I love it. Girl loves a tool, right? So I know you have lots of tricks in your bag, and but do you have a favorite parenting tool that you could share with some of us beginners over here, or something we could put into action like yesterday?
Yeah.
No pressure, Diana.
10 years ago?
Yes.
No.
Well, I'm just thinking how to answer this question, because there's no quick fix here. Okay. So it's really work and step by step, moment by moment presence for your children every day. So no quick fixes. I'm sorry to disappoint, but one thing that I can give that has helped me a lot is that each time I'm triggered in a situation with my children, I now know that it's not them. It's always me. Each and every time I'm triggered. No exception.
You just nailed that tool.
So I'm not saying that the children are always right, but okay, what I'm saying is that they're learning. And if we are triggered, we are not in the place of meeting them where they're at and really seeing them and helping them out. Just know that it's not them, it's you. And you need to ask yourself the question, what am I feeling right now? And why am I feeling this? What is underneath? And underneath, I can tell you already, is always some kind of a sort of a variation of a fear.
Is it because if it's not love, it's fear? Is that the thing?
If it's not love, it's fear. Simple.
Oof.
That is a really nice go-to, and part of the reason why I love your answer so much on that one, it's almost like a mantra you can use. It's a switch of, instead of escalating or attacking the moment, you can just kind of sit back for a minute, say, okay, this emotion's coming up, what's coming up here, instead of like, and it doesn't always have to be a what's wrong with me kind of place either, right?
And I think that makes so much sense, because you're yelling at your child or something when they're a teenager trying to go out. And meanwhile, underneath that, you're just terrified that something's going to happen to them, or something's going to come their way that they won't know how to handle.
Yeah. And I can give you an example if you want. I don't know
That
how
would be
we're
great.
doing.
Examples are great.
I can give you an example. I was having a very dear friend, I don't know, some months ago visiting, and she just came for a coffee at home. And we started chatting, and I sensed that there was something that was bothering her, and she was tense. So she started she was worried about her daughter not doing well at school and stuff like that. And she started, and the minute she started talking, I knew. So she was highly triggered by this whole situation. And I knew there was something in the past that happened to her that is causing this trigger, because I'm trained for this. So, we are trained as conscious parenting coaches to hear two sentences and understand what's the trigger. And I just started asking questions. And but obviously I'm very careful not to mix friends with, but I just said, look, do you want me to ask you a few questions? She was like, please, please, please ask me, because it feels so uncomfortable. And I started asking, and I said, tell me a little bit about, what is the subject, blah, 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 the teacher, blah, blah, blah. And she started talking. And I said, just think of when you were a child or a student. How was your math teacher? But I started asking questions. And just in a couple of sentences, it all came to the surface. She had a situation at school where she She was kind of pointed at by one teacher, and it was very uncomfortable. But she was basically projecting her own unresolved emotions around that happening at school onto her daughter, worrying that exactly the same thing would happen to her. But the child had nothing to do with this situation. It was a completely different situation. But that's what we do as parents. We project immediately. And she was trying to protect her from something that happened to her, but it was not relevant for this situation.
I bet that example applies to so many scenarios, actually. Because it like the protection, because then you have the fear too, because you're trying to protect them from some fear that you have.
That you're having.
Yeah. Gosh.
It has nothing to do with them,
Insightful.
but you're projecting all of these things onto them. And now they have done something wrong.
That's beautiful. Well, just beautiful to be able to unwrap.
It's wonderful that there's an institution that teaches people like you, and the teacher is Dr. Shavali Sabari. Yep. So everybody can look up the books and maybe get more in touch with the things that you're talking about, since it was such a highlight for you.
So here at Bombastic Broadcasting, we like to say that a rising tide lifts all boats. So we wanted to let our listeners know how to find you. What is your website? And I know you offer one-on-one coaching. Do you have courses or anything else as well?
We are working together on developing some online courses, but that is still kind of work in progress. So for the moment, it is one-on-one coaching, online coaching, but we can also do coaching in groups. And workshops are also a nice way kind of to help each other, because we have similar issues and we learn from each other quite nicely. My website is quite easy. It's dianaalexandrova.com, and people can find me there. They can book a session with me. I have a free half an hour introduction session just to see if it's a good match and if I can help. And on Instagram, I'm at Diana Alexandrova Coach with underscore between the Diana and Alexandrova and Coach. So this is where people can find me.
Okay.
And of course, I hope people will be interested and will register for the Global Conscious Parenting Summit, because like you see me today, there are 30 like us in one go. And it's going to be quite amazing, because we are going to have approximately 20 hours of content, which we're giving for free to people, because we just want to spread the word about conscious parenting. And it's very easy to register, and it's on the 8th of August. So people who have registered and for some reason cannot watch it, they can then follow it for 72 hours that follow online. They will get the link. So I truly hope people get inspired and register and learn about conscious parenting, and honestly, transform their life.
Yes.
I can promise you that. If you start doing the work on that, you will transform your life.
So wonderful that you and Alia were able to do all with her idea and put this all together, and pretty fast too, I might say. So thank you for following that thread.
Thank you for being part of it as well, Kim.
So that's it from Bombastic Broadcasting. Be gentle, be compassionate, and be forgiving.
And playful.
Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep grinding. Wake up. All is aligning. All you gotta do. Wake up. My man Mo said that the reason that the world fucked up is cause everybody lazy. Positivity is corny to them, but they still gon' complain about the bad going on, shit crazy. So I just had to drop a little project. I don't know what the object is, but this feels good. If you too hood for the good vibes, sorry I ain't got nothing for you, why should I?
You shouldn't. We out here doing the things that y'all wouldn't. Life could be a sweet ride, proof is in the pudding. These guys with the weak vibes, I'll show them where to put it. Down bad, I was looking for the answer. Mind all mad, taking over like a cancer. Canceled the sub plans, came from up above. Told me everything we're doing, showing love, and I gotta
wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep grinding. Wake up. All is aligning. All you gotta do. Wake up.
I've been getting so high, head up in the clouds. I don't ever wanna calm down, but I gotta wake up. Ain't enough time to be down. Bust a smile, cause it's yet another day that I'm allowed to wake up. Feeling blessed to be alive, man. Not long till we thriving. Take the time to remind yourself that it all starts inside yourself. Most.
Wake up feeling stuck every day, then you gotta realize that it's all in your mindset. Read about that meditation, you go get around to it, you just haven't had the time. Yeah, I bet. Best thing that you could invest in is you. Could have the results or could have the excuse. Only one life, so take care of what you choose. And I ain't preaching, I'm just telling you the truth. Wake up. So much more in this world that you can do. Wake up. Every little thing in this life that you're going through don't mean a thing. Wake up. You keep shining. You keep